Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Razak at CMtrading. Today is February 25th, 2021, and today is Thursday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, we watched the Dow Jones yesterday just explode to the upside to 31,900-ish level, and after hours, we actually gained more to 32,000 points on the Dow. Now, there is no major economic event scheduled for today, but as we look at the Forex symbols, we're watching the GBP struggle with its multi-year resistance-ish level. Now, in terms of the indices, the NASDAQ did not budge higher. It was really unchanged, while the Dow Jones broke to new record highs. In terms of commodities, gold tapers lower below 1,800 as inflationary concerns simmer. And looking at oil, bouncing higher back to its highs. In terms of the tech stocks, they have been weak, and that reflects on the NASDAQ. If we looked at Alcoa, very similar to the Dow Jones, breaking to new record highs. And lastly, looking at Bitcoin, hovering at that 50K mark. Let's see what it could do next. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So I've been following this quite clearly, and for a few days, we're looking at the GBP on a weekly chart. It's a little bit harder when you're looking at a weekly chart because there's a lot of things to take into account. But from week to week, over the past 3 weeks, we've gone from 136 up to 141, which is basically a 500 pip move. So it means on a weekly basis, we went over 130 pips, okay, on a daily basis. That's really almost 180 pips, per week. So that's a big surge for the GBP, okay? It's a very short time period and a really big surge. And you see, there's a couple of things that led up to this, okay? We had this continuation from before, breakout from the 133.70-ish level, and that was really the point, okay, where we could have really taken the advantage of this. Now, we have hit some turbulence at this area, so I do expect it to trade within a range until we either break out with some gusto, and we need a lot of gusto to break out, or we retrace and trade in a sideways momentum over here. Now, jumping in commodities, okay, we're looking at gold, hovering below 1,800, okay, even hitting 1787, and this is simmering down, okay. It's still in somewhat of a downwards momentum, okay. Didn't really break itself as it's challenging this lower limit. Now, looking at oil, we are challenging the upper limit, even making new highs for the year, 63.52. Okay, a really beautiful chart here. A little bit more volatile than I would have expected it to be, but it is looking like it's continuing to trend higher. Now, looking at the Dow Jones, look at this. This was something else yesterday. Once we broke that 31,600, which is all-time highs, if we look at that at a 4-hour chart, boom, we just went berserk. And the reason I want to say that why we went berserk is one of two things. There are a lot of people that are short this in the anticipation that we were going to make a correction. That's number one. That might have exasperated the move even higher. Number two, Fed Chairman Powell yesterday spoke, and he kind of like simmered down any sort of inflationary issue, any sort of monetary concerns in the markets. And he said he would do everything possible to sustain the markets, basically. So, add that factor into it, that's positive news. That's really great stuff. So with that said, the markets rallied to new time highs. However, looking at the NASDAQ, it did not, okay? We were trading at 13,200-ish yesterday, and we're only about 1334. Now, we're over about 700 points from our all-time highs, 600 points from our all-time highs, but nevertheless, it didn't budge higher. I would have expected this to also rally, but it didn't. Okay, now that's respective and reflective of some of the tech stocks. Like Apple, it was up, but it's relatively weak. Okay, if we look at Facebook, also just trading sideways. And of course, Amazon we've been watching as well. Okay, there's Amazon, which has been at the bottom of the range. So we've seen a lot of weakness in the markets when it comes to this, as this is making the rotation. Now, one more point. Now, this is the big board stocks, the Dow Stocks, okay? JP Morgan hit new record highs yesterday, up to 153. And look at Alcoa. Look at how similar it looks to the Dow Jones, making record highs, really busting that resistance-ish level on the yearly. Okay, so this has really been a fantastic comeback for Alcoa for the past year. Now, lastly, looking at Bitcoin, hovering at about this 50,000-ish mark. Like, again, we're right between our two moving averages. Nothing really jumping at me. Maybe this is starting to make a wedge formation, an ascending wedge formation. Okay, it could be that it might break out. Okay, but I think we're going to be continuing to trade in a range here. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish everybody a great trading day.